Bonjour everyone, I am Chef Lille. I am the chef and owner of the Burke Mandarin in Gibsonville, North Carolina, right in between Raleigh and Greensboro. Beautiful, beautiful region. The inn, the country inn, feature 9 rooms with suite. We have a wide and large place, pavilion to make a wedding and big reunion up to 250 people. We have, of course, we have the restaurant, the Saint-Jacques at the Burke Mandarin, the only 4-diamond AAA restaurant in the Triads. And we do cooking class, we do wine dinner, and we do things that are absolutely wonderful. We take a group of travelers with us every year in magnificent tour of France, and we do that every year. We take about 25 to 30 people. We go to different regions, and this in the year 2025 we are going to do my region, the south of France, Provence, and we also bring another group in Alsace, in the northern part of France. I'm super excited to show you a couple of things, great traditional dishes that are a little tweaked to make it easy for you. You're welcome, and little by little we are going to do things together. You are going to live happy. I'm going to be super excited. Thank you for being with us, and I cannot wait to go with you. All right, super excited. Our first dish is something that it's kind of a play on something that is very well known in North Carolina. It's the tomato pie. But the tomato pie, it's good, but you always have to do a big amount in order for you to be able to have a piece of it. And it's a bummer because maybe not everybody likes it, or maybe there are only 2 and you have to do a big pie. So we decided to try to do something individual. So it's going to be an individual portion. We are going to work with nice quality product because you don't have too many things in there. So the less you have, the more you have to focus on the product. So we are going to work with those beautiful heirloom tomato. We have a fresh basil. We are going to do our own little mayonnaise. You know, instead of making make an aioli or add a little bit of pesto, we are going to cut corners, make life a little easier. When you make an olive oil or an aioli, especially an aioli, which is a garlic mayonnaise, it's good, but it's a little bit of a problem because you know you have to be very careful with polyphenol on the olive oil. Like if you blend too much very quickly, you'll separate the goblet and it's going to be bitter. So you have to use more a dressing kind of olive oil. Don't go on the extra virgin olive oil on first press. Do a classic olive oil on this one. We are going to make life easy because we are going to use just a simple mayonnaise. So I have my tomato, I have my mayonnaise. We are going to put a little bit of cheese in between to thicken our little dressing / mayonnaise. We are going to put our normal pine nuts, garlic, and we get going. So what we are going to do just to start the dish, all that has been washed, I'm going to take some fresh leaf of basil. You don't need to put the misery in there. We take that off, just the leaves. All right, like this. And right after that, as a part of that dressing, garlic is going to be prime. We are going to take a nice garlic clove. We crush it like this and kind of help our little machine to do the job. Then to that, we are going to add a little bit of pine nuts. Don't put too much, as you know, it's not given. It's a certain price, so do not put too much. And plus on that, it's not going to bring a ton of flavor. Originally, it's also to thicken and to cut a little bit the bitterness on our oil. So I'm going to roll with that first. And just make sure that every time you work with a mayonnaise and olive oil, or anything with olive oil, it's better to pulse versus of just going non-stop. All right, it looks like everything is blended. I'm going to just unglue the edges over here. Be careful not to cut your spatula on that sharp blade. To that, I'm going to use my mayonnaise here, just a little bit for the consistency. Then we try it again. All right, now to take my thing. I'm going to stir a tiny bit to combine all the items that were left behind. From there, I'm going to put our mayonnaise. Easy to reach. You see, it's grossly cut. You don't want to make too thin. This thing is going to go in the oven. So you don't make the normal, just thin mayonnaise. So we put that over here. That is what I'm going to use to set it up. Then I'm going to start working on the purse, the size of it. A little bit of flour, not too much. We're not going to roll much. Lay that over here. AP flour. We're going to take slice of puff pastry, which is a sheet. You buy it already or done. Don't spend too much time doing it. We're going to roll it. You want it to be a little thinner because it's going to cook for about 8 minutes. So in order for the tomato to be cut, you don't want it to be too thin. All right, we have that going. Put that on the side. Do a little TLC because I'm going to work on my tomato. All right. Now we are going to take the diamond of that dish. Heirloom tomato. Heirloom are very important. They come from the heirloom seeds. Those are heirloom, you can say heirloom or heritage. They go through generation. And after 50 years of being unchanged, you can call them heirloom. You cut them however you want. You don't do only heirloom tomato. There are several vegetables that you can do heirloom. You can also grow those tomatoes at home. Heirloom, the seeds are just like little computers. If you plant them and you every harvest you kind of save or sacrifice one of them and take the seeds, dry them, you can keep them. You wash them, you dry them, you keep it in a dark area, and you can keep them all the way to 5 years if you want. Then the year after, you replant them, and you keep replanting the same seeds from the same vegetable. The little computer of the seed is going to develop immunity to everything that is around and is going to feed itself. He knows that seeds will know the average rain, the kind of dirt, the acidity, the pH, and you will end up having some beautiful tomato and very similar every year. All right, so on this one, you can choose to cut it however you want. When you choose the heirloom, try to make it not too ripe, not too juicy, because it's going to go against the process. You don't want too much humidity on our creation. So we are going to cut that. I don't, you know, those French chefs, they never waste anything. We are very crispy. We don't want to waste or throw anything. Don't cut those slices too big. You see, we are saying about 1/4 of an inch. Here again for the humidity. So I'm cutting that like this, and since I want to redesign a tomato, on this one I'm going to cut the end also. All right, I'm not going to use that piece. We're going to use those 2 slices, and we do a top and a bottom. From there, a little more TLC, and then we are going to start building. I'm going to take my slice of puff pastry, and you have to do always the same way and the same thing. You have to think about the science of it, because you know things are going to melt. So I'm starting with a little bit of my mayonnaise. Don't put too much. Remember, you have to put enough to season the dish. It's not to bring a texture. On that, I'm going to start the top of our purse, because I'm going to switch that upside down. From there, we do a tiny bit of salt. Remember, just a little bit, because we're going to do that in all the layers, so you don't want to over salt the dish. No need to put pepper, because you already have some spice through the garlic. We have our little mozzarella bowl. You can buy the slices, you can buy the square, you can buy. What matters the most here is going to be the size of them. I'm going to do 2 per level. I'm going to put the mozzarella here. I want the mozzarella not to be separated by the mayonnaise with the tomato, because I don't want those mozzarella slices to slide. Then when we are here, I am going to do another little coat of that. This time on it, I put another slice of my tomato. Tiny bit of salt again, very, very little. 2 slices of mozzarella. Those would be perfect, because you know we know that we do 1 full bowl per serving. And then we are going to add our little mayonnaise again. Very simple, and believe me, it's just amazing. Our restaurant, we sell a lot of it. Then now we're here, we have what we need, we have the little hat. I can even finish it if you want, because I want a round also, so I've kind of cheated a little bit. Here you go. From there, we just are going to enclose everything. We do our little egg wash, and just an egg. I cut it usually with a little bit of water to make it a little more fluid. I pan the edges here, like this. And what I do, I'm going to bring corner to corner, all right? From there, I can bring that, but it's going to make something very strange here. It's going to make like little wings. So I bring those in, pull it a little bit. Same thing on this side, bring it up. You can stretch it a little bit. And from there, you finish molding it with your hand. And we have exactly what we're looking for. That is going to go on the little sizzling plate. I'm going to brush it with a little bit of egg wash, and we're going to cook it at 400 degrees for 8 minutes. Looking forward to seeing you in a little bit. All right, everyone, we are back. Now we are going to see the result of this beautiful golden Provençal tomato pie. Here you go. That's after 8 to 9 minutes in the oven, about 400 degrees. It's good, it has not sealed too much. It means everything is inside. The mozzarella is going to be melted. The tomatoes are slightly cooked. Our dressing, mayonnaise slash aioli slash pesto is going to filter through everything, and it should be right on top. So when it's like this, you have all the bounty in that little bowl. We are going to try not to disappoint with the setting. We don't want to be too complicated because it's already in here. I'm just doing a nice quality organic arugula salad with a very simple French dressing. But what we call French dressing, it's a vinaigrette. It's just going to be a nice quality of olive oil, red wine vinegar, touch of mustard, salt and pepper, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Very simple. To that, don't burn your little hands. We are going to take it, put that in the center. Be careful the cheese string. Just like this. Oopla. We finish that with maybe just a little color on it. How about if we put 2 little half tomato, like this, same size. We can do, here you go. And what I like to do just on the arugula is just to put some of those here. And the finish, sweetness of sweetness of our nice balsamic reduction. Not too much, just a drizzle. There you go. And everything is done. Bon appétit! All right, everyone, we're back. I hope you don't have too much trouble remembering what we've done, but it's going to be very easy on this appetizer. And now we move on, because we start getting hungrier. We move on to the entree. The entree is going to be something that I'm very, very fond of, and something that you see in a lot of different restaurants. And when you look at it, you say, oh, I wish I could do that. How do I do that? It's actually not that difficult. And I've tried to make it even easier with adding a different style of cooking, a different method of cooking. And little by little, I'm going to show you what we do. You cannot fail at that. We cannot fail at that. We are going to have nice quality. They don't have to be, but those are organic chicken breast. They are local in the state. So that will be the purse, that will be what we are going to stuff. We are going to stuff it with 2 different things. We're going to stuff it with steel breast grinded with the carrot, and breast grinded with the peas. We are going to roll that, we are going to cook it. I'm going to show you how we do all that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but very easy. And then from there, we are going to make a sauce, but the sauce will also play as a starch and an additional little flavor. The sauce is going to be actually a potato velouté. Velouté comes from the word velour. Velour means velvety. So it's going to be like a thicker, very unctuous, half mashed potato, half sauce, and we are going to bring it a little color, and the color will be roasted red pepper with a touch of garlic. So we are going to take our time, and we'll make it happen. If you're ready, we are going to do it. Look what I have. I have this thing here that is going to be pretty important, and that's a part of the method I was going to talk about. But I'm not going to put it in the middle like this. Everybody can see while we are doing it. I just want to first show you how we need to trim that. So on all the breasts, and I recommend you to take thicker breasts. Those are close to 10 ounces each. And look, if we have a nice quality knife and nice and sharp, we're going to take the tenderloin out of that, the tenderloin, and we put it on the side. Same thing with that. Those are going to be instrumental to our stuffing. These are the perfect weight, but the reason why I love those is because I actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone, 2 chickens with 1 stone. And on that, I'm going to take another wide blade, chef's knife, put it on the side like this. You don't have your finger touching the board and not allow you to go low down. So you bring your breast at the bottom, and we are going, you make sure when you cut like this not to make any mistake. Don't focus too much on the strengths, on things like this. It is one of the cuts that, yes, you will have to move your knife, you will have to sew, but you focus on the fact that that knife, the blade, needs to be parallel to the flat of your board. That's pretty much it. Don't focus on anything else. Look, this part and this part, make sure it's flat, and you just let it go. There is it's no more difficult than that. Now this piece, another very diamond, like this, and we can do the same thing with this one. Same thing, keep it parallel and go very slowly. You put your finger flat. That's the time where you don't close your finger. We want to cut just the chicken. Here you go. And then here you go. We put that over here. We are going to work with those two. I'm going to do just one, and that should be enough for you to understand, hopefully. I'm going to cut those pieces, I'm going to put them away, and I'm going to blend. Those are going to be our stuffing. All right, I'm just doing like a little prep. It doesn't have to be cut very, very thin. Put that on the side. There you are. And then we are going to start working on our breast. I'm going to put this one away, discard it for the time being. Now we are going to take a saran wrap. Ideally, if you can find a saran wrap or any saran wrap that you can put a little bit on weight. If you're working out, things that I don't do, and you have a weight, you know you are going to have a small, maybe you can put it on it or try to block it or some stuff. You need the weight, or ask your little ones to hold it. I'm sure he's going to love it since that's all he has to do. And you have him hold that, and you're going to put a layer on it and pull it a little past your cutting board. Leave it a little loose, a little play. We are going to have a little bit water. Just play the water, not too much. There you go. And on that, a tiny bit of salt, okay? All right. We are going to turn the breast like this with the salt at the bottom, and we are going to do the same thing. A little bit of salt, and then I'm going to then fold it. I cover. It would be probably better to do skin side up, but you can with the protection of the saran wrap. Here you go. Now you have the setup you are looking for. On this one, the meat is cut and raw, and you are not going to need the one with the grit. You just need it flat, and you start from the beginning. You start from the middle. You want to make sure that there is a technique and a structure. Don't attack that part, it's thinner. Do not attack that part, it's thinner. So just try to, all right? Because you are going to design it. The more square / rectangular you can get, the better it will be. All right? And do that when you're tired. Like this, you can express your anger. There you go. Like this. We should be okay. I'm going to cut this part like this. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to play with that side also. There you go. Beautiful. All right. From then, I'm going to peel it. There you go. And put that on the side. Bring another slice. Like this. and put my chicken breast here, and that's what we are going to be stuffing for the time. And then we are going to take those little pieces and we are going to start working on them. I'm going to divide that in two little piles. The first pile that I'm going to be putting here, those peas have been cooked, the carrots have been cooked, so very soft, they don't have to blend before. You can blend the meat, the chicken, actually the protein is going to be a little stronger fiber than those. We're going to add a tiny bit of those. It's for flavor and the color. There you are. You see how easy it is? Really no headaches, and we just let actually the equipment and the quality of the base product do all the work. Then a little bit of salt here. Remember, a little bit of salt because we are salting the breast. We are going to salt this one. We are going to salt the other stuffing. So don't overdo. I can put a little bit, tiny bit of pepper. Same thing, not too much. There you go. And then we are going to blend all that. Taking my spatula close by. There you go. Yeah. And we can pulse. There you are. This is actually very easy, and it makes everything easy because since your stuffing is going to be made of the same protein as what the purse, what the coating, so everything will really cook together. I'm collecting this one that is flavored and colored with peas. And now I'm going to pass on the second one. All right, so we just rinse a little bit our little thing here, and now we are going to just do the same thing. We are going to put our chicken in like this, and then this time our nice orangey carrots in there. Nice, they are going to bring a little tiny bit of sweetness that we put it on the side. Here you go. And then same thing. On this one, please just put a tiny bit of salt here again. We don't want over salt. All right, we have that going. Same thing. All right, I'm going to push it down a tiny bit to make sure we give it all the color. All right, beautiful. We have all we need. We are adding that little stuffing here. Then we are going to turn to the confection and explain you the next step. Very easy also. Look at this nice orangey color that is going to combine with that green here. How can you not like that? And you will see it's really not easy. It's just a matter of memory how you do it, and once you do it once, it's like riding a bicycle. All right, so we have all we need. I'm going to put this thing away here to give you a little bit of room and be able to see everything. From there, we have our chicken, we are to stuffing. What I like to do on those, I always like to have the carrots at the bottom, and you will see why. Taking a spoon, and then remember, my chicken is already salted. You don't have to put much. You don't have to put much. Remember, it's just a little addition. And you see how I put it more in the center? We are going to roll it. So if you go too high, it's going to kind of seep, and you are going to lose the grip. When you are going to make that little roulade, you don't want anything, the water to seep in. I'll explain you why. We have that. I'm going to take a little bit of the green one. All right, you see how we do it? Just that little line in the center, little bit of artistry here, and there, that's where we have to be careful. So, what I need you to do, you will take the saran wrap with your finger, and you are going to force the beginning of it. You see, I make it stick. When it's here, you are going to roll it, and that's where you are going to need the weight of that saran wrap. You are going to roll it and try to unroll and keep everything inside. When you're like this, you see how I press my finger? I know I have it. And with my finger, I'm going to slide them towards me to form the roulade inside. When you are like this and you have the tension, you're in business. You keep that open as much as you can because you are going to need a little play around, and I'm going to show you why, like this. And you roll. Don't get excited. Take your time. Your guests are not here. Plus they're having their gin and tonic in the lounge. There you go. You see where we are? From here, you roll. You don't want to go further than that. We do up, up, and then I'm going to keep rolling. I take that on the side, clear full view. From here, I want you to roll it slowly, and you will do like almost like a firecracker. You pull on it, and you bring the chicken in. You see how I pull on it because I'm going to need to have some play here. Pull on it, bring the chicken in, and here we are going to just roll it, very little. You see how it is? You are taking the air out. On there, we are going to turn the finger, and I want a little more space here, a little more play. From here, you're almost done. We're going to turn it. You see, it was like this. I turn it, I'm right-handed, that's why I turn it this side. And I'm going to make a little nut with that little string that I created. Try to make sure that you have enough play, then you will release a little bit of sauce, the chicken for it to look more like a sausage. And when you are like this, you see, I do a double, and from here, tie it up, and then we're like this. All right? If for any reason you didn't pull enough and you cannot make that little sausage, it's not a big deal because you can close the deal. Let's imagine if you cannot do that, you can just close the two little string here, and you take another piece of saran wrap and you rewrap it, all the thing in there. Nobody will see anything. When you are like this, very easy. I have boiling water over here. You know, boiling water, you be careful that nothing is going to touch the edges. And I'm going to put it in my boiling water, bring it, you want a nice bubble going. I'm going to let it simmer like this, 212 degrees, a little over maybe, and I would say no longer than at the maximum 15 minutes based on the size of the breast. And then I'll show you what we do with it when we come back. All right, so we just pull our little sausage out of the boiling water, chicken breast, 2 different stuffing. We did it quick, and it's just to have a color and just to make the chicken a little more exciting. You know, we see chicken a lot of different ways. That it is an easy deal to do, especially you can do that at home because it's going to poach in water. The work is on the preparation, everything else it's easy. I'm going to show you what we are going to do with that. But first I want to show you the sauce kind of velouté that we are going to put underneath just for the garniture for the preparation. All right, so we have our poached potato here. We don't have to use them all based on the number of people you have. I like you to poach those potatoes a little longer. Usually those potatoes will be put out russet potatoes, so russet and Idaho. On boiling water, they will probably go for in between 9 and 10, 11 minutes. On these, push it a little further because I wouldn't mind if there is a little more liquid in there, if they become a little softer, because remember, I want that to use that as a sauce. That's what you would want to do. To it, I'm going to add first a little bit of crushed garlic. You don't want to do too much in there. You have the potato, which is the mash, that's the starch addition to it. The pepper is going to be, if you want, the seasoning and the color, and the garlic will be really the main flavor you want to add. We are going to touch a little bit of salt, a tiny bit, because they have already poached in salted water. Then from there, we are going to do our pepper. Don't put a ton of it. It's good if it's more on the widest pink style instead of a bright red. So we have all that. We are going to blend it. All right. And this one here again, I'm going to bring it down. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of liquid. I don't want to add cream because we don't have cream in that dish. There you go, just a tiny bit of liquid. All right. From there, we are going to transfer that to a bowl. We still have the heat of the potatoes, so that's good. I'm going to transfer all that here. That can go underneath over here. There you go, that nice red mashed potato. I can smell the garlic. There, all right. And then from there, we're going to start dressing up. There you go. Nice rectangular plate. I'll mash in here and just like kind of, you know, see, you don't have to put too much. Remember, we are going to have to add the chicken to it. Shape it up. All right. We're going to put that a little bit on the side. And that's where we are going to need for the chicken, and that's very important for you to remember. We are going to take, there is water, you know, the protein and the vegetable in there have rendered a little bit of water, so we are going to put that first. And when you cut it, you see, water, the juice, and once the water is most out, with the back of your knife, you're going to put the sausage, you are going to put, don't press too much, and you're going to slide it out. You see? Because it's going to be a little hot and I don't want you to burn yourself. There you go. There you go. We're almost there. There you are. From there, that can be discarded. We are going to put that on the side. Take the water, the juice. You have to be careful because the stuffing has probably moved and some has the chicken may have opened. So we go very slowly and we are going to start cutting our medallion. There you are. And then we are going to set it up in the plate. Sliding like this. There you go. See, you're going to have the color that appear. What I like to do at the end, we've done a little bit of cream and pepper, but it's actually a dairy-free cream on this one. So you just can do just a little decoration in here and a line in the middle. And why not a tiny bit of a basil like this to finish the dish. There you are. Bon appétit! All right, so now we are going to the very important part, which is dessert. So it's going to be a 2-part dessert. We are going to start with the pâte à choux. This dessert, we decided to call it the Eiffel Liberty. It's a play on a classical traditional dessert called Paris-Brest. Paris-Brest originally is the name of a cycle race. People were living, the cycle racer were living from Paris, and they would end up in Brest in the north west of France. And there is a baker that decided to do a dessert to commemorate that race. Therefore, he called it the Paris-Brest. So this dessert is called Paris-Brest, and you will see it's a shape of a wheel that is representing of the wheel of the bicycle. And originally, what we find out by digging a little more is that, in fact, those desserts, they were not dessert, they were actually made to be given to the racer because they were loaded in sugar, and it would help them for energy to finish the race. So it's called the Paris-Brest because I come from France and I landed in the United States 30 years ago. So we are going to start doing that. We are going to do a pâte à choux. Pâte à choux is the same dough as the gougères, but the gougères are savory. You have heard of what you call cream puff or profiterole. Those are pâte à choux. So the word, oh, mon petit chou, doesn't mean a little cabbage. It's more like one of those little puff. So we're going to start doing the dough, and then I'll show you it's a particular way to do it, and then after we are going to go on the stuffing. The stuffing is going to be a crème pâtissière that is actually flavored with peanut butter. So now we can easily find any kind of peanut butter addition. I really like the one that I use. It's called a peanut butter powder. It's actually very simply peanuts that are going to be roasted and pressed to get rid of the oil. You always have a little bit left, but most of it will be gone. And then they are grounded into a powder, and it's easy to add on anything, on a sauce, or mix it with cream, or if you want to do a special, even on a stir fry, even on Asian style food, or you can add it to anything. Today we are going to add it to our crème pâtissière, our pastry cream, and I will show you the result in a little bit. We're starting with our dough. We have 1 cup of water. With that cup of water, it's very easy to remember, we have 1 stick of butter. So 1 stick of butter, we are going to add the butter, and we are going to let the butter melt in that water. All right, I'm just going to go where I can just add a little bit because I probably had more than a cup. We'll let that go like this. From that, we are going to wait for the butter to melt at the low temp in our water. And when the butter will be completely melted, we are going to add our flour. On that, what I like to do is to always add a pinch of salt, and very important, I always also add a pinch of sugar. Since it's going to be sweet, it will be sweet all the way. We are going to let it run. I might accelerate it a little bit because who wants to see butter melting? Plus the technique of doing that dough is much more interesting. All right, we're almost there. Now we have a flour here. On those, this one is an AP flour, which is all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour, above that on the gluten percentage content, you are going to add the high gluten. Those, the more gluten, the heavier. Granted, they will retain the moisture, but they will be heavier. So it means they are not going to want to rise so much. They are good for heavy bread, sourdough, sour bread. They are good for pizza pie, pizza tart. On this dessert here, what worked very well, it's more a cake flour. Cake flour is going to have a lesser gluten content, therefore more inclined to rise. You don't want it to puff enormously, but you want it to rise a little bit because we are going to stuff it, just like the little choux, the petit choux, the profiterole. You know, usually we cut them, we put a scoop of vanilla ice cream or a little bit of whipped cream, finish them with a chocolate syrup or chocolate sauce, or even a little caramel. My butter is completely melted. The very interesting thing with this dough is that you don't have to be gentle when you add the flour. It's not little by little, wet in the opposite. It has to be added all at once. And from here, you are going to stir. It's going to be very strange because it's going to change texture as you go. We are going to lower our fire at this level. We don't want to burn the flour. You will know that this dough is where it needs to be when it doesn't stick on the edge of your saucepan. So you keep going until you obtain, so you have to really incorporate, combine and make a symbiose in between the dough and in between the flour, the butter and the water. And bring it a tiny bit more. When it has level, at this level, we are going to transfer everything on a colder container. The process going. There you are. You see that dough? There you go. From there, we're almost done. We just have to combine eggs. All right, my measurements were a little lower, so I don't want to put too much eggs. I had 4 eggs here because you usually do 1 cup of water for 1 cup of flour, for 1 stick of butter, and 4 eggs. You don't want your dough to be too liquid. I was a little lesser on my flour, so I'm going to put a little less eggs in there. So I just blend them. You put them, you add them little by little. Okay, don't put everything at once, otherwise you will not be able to catch it back. All right, you see here again, it's going to kind of do some shaving, you know, it goes in shaving, and then the more you stir, the more it comes back together. Yeah. So from there, that's where I'm going to do my little ring. I already traced the size of the ring that I wanted. We are going to take pastry gauche. We're going to put all that in, or most of it, and we are going to form our little circle. I have only 3, so you come here like this. There you are. So I'm going just to go following, hoopla. All right, and we do the last one. There you go. From then, we need to add a couple of things, a little bit of almond sliver, finish it with some nice powdered sugar. The way they are here, we are going to bake them first at 400 degrees to let it puff, and then for about 20-25 minutes, and then we will finish it at about 350 for another 10 minutes. We see you in a little bit. All right, so very exciting. Now it's what's going to make that dessert ready. So we have the dough that is slowly baking and puffing a little bit, and we are going to tuff those little wheels that I was talking about earlier. Now we just need to do the stuffing, and the stuffing is going to be a crème pâtissière, but the crème pâtissière, which is pastry cream, is going to be flavored with peanut butter. We are using a product that is now readily available everywhere. It's actually a peanut butter powder. And that powder is very simply made by roasting peanuts and then pressing them to get rid of the oil, and then let it dry a little bit and grinding them into a powder. And you open like a very rich powder that almost like talc. The only thing with that you have to remember is that I'm going to show you how we do. So we are going to do a two-part recipe, but parallel to each other. We are going to start by first, we are going to heat our milk. So we have 2 cups of milk, and then I have a 1/4 of a cup of sugar. That's what I put in that little pan. And I just wanted to add on this one a tiny bit of extra vanilla extract. You are going to have the flavor of the peanuts, but I think that the vanilla is backing up well on that aroma. That is going to go very slowly. I'm just going to stir a little bit to make sure that our sugar is going to get dissolved. And while all that is gently on the way to be simmering, on this one I'm going to put my 4 egg yolk and mix that with my 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter powder and 3 teaspoons of cornstarch. All right, I'll start with my wet first, and then I'm going to put my peanut butter powder and the cornstarch. I just want to let you know, it will feel pretty strange when you are going to stir that, because it will feel very dry. Do not worry, if for any reason it becomes too dry, so when you are going to mix it, if for any reason it becomes too dry, you can cheat a little bit and add a touch of milk. Use all wheat milk. It's probably better than using half and half. And you stir. You see how it becomes like this? It already becomes a little drier and stickier. But keep going. The more you go, the more it's going to get incorporated, and you will still get back the little bit of the moisture of the eggs. At this level here, I'm looking at my milk that is lightly getting to temp. You don't want it to be hot, you just want to start seeing a little bit of simmering on the edges here, you see? We are going to, it's called to temper that milk. Temper that whole milk, you see? The way it is here, that's all we need. we take that out, and I'm going to temper what I have here very gently with just adding a little bit on it to start. And then you do it progressively. If you go too fast, you know what will happen. If you go too fast, we are going to cook our eggs and it's not going to work. All right, so we are doing well. When I am here, what I can already do, I can start stirring everything, and I'm going to clean a little bit the edges because there's a lot of things that I want to recoup here, or not waste it all at least. There you go. Keep stirring, and then we keep adding our milk. Like this, gently. Keep going slowly all the way until it's completely incorporated. See, you can scratch very often half of the recipe and end up laying on the side of your bowl or stainless steel casserole or saucepan, and here you go. And then where we are, finish all that here, nice stir. All right, at that point here, what I want to do is lower back my fire a little bit, and I'm going to transfer back soon to be batter to my saucepan. The very important part now is that from that moment where it's going to hit that fire, we need to keep moving, keep stirring. You don't have to go too crazy, but you want that to have always a movement, because otherwise we are going to end up having peanut butter scrambled eggs. You don't have to wait for it to be completely thickened before you take it off. What's going to happen is that as soon as you know it can coat the back of your spoon, of a wooden spoon, and without, once you streak it with your finger, without the two sides meeting each other again, it means we will be in business. We're almost there. I'm going to get one of those while I'm doing that and transfer all that there when it's going to be too temp. All right, I start smelling it. We're very close. There you go. That's where you cannot give up. Keep going. I start feeling it getting. There you go. And from then on, we can transfer all that to the. It's going to be. You see, the bottom is already attached, so thicker. All right. Perfect. From there, I stir it a little bit. You see, it's still very liquid. It's going to. I take all those off. There you go. I'm going to let that rest in the cooler for about 20 minutes, and then we are going to finish the dessert with our peanut butter crème pâtissière, and the dessert, they're so famous, Eiffel Liberty, is going to come to life and friction. All right, so now is the easiest thing to do and the closest to bounty and exhilaration and happiness of us eating this delicious dessert. So from now on, they came out of the oven, perfectly cooked, nicely rised. I kind of cut them in half to show you what it should look like. From then on, I'm going to place the bottom in here, right in the center. Then I have my crème pâtissière, flavored with peanut butter, that I'm going to put just here. I'm going to add a couple of things before. I just wanted to do a tiny bit of caramel at the bottom here, just to bring some sweetness. And then from there, I'm going to look how beautiful that looks. There you go. Then the lid goes right on top. There you go. What I like to do here is to put a little touch in the middle. From here, we are going to finish it a little bit with a drizzle of caramel. And I'm going to make sure that the caramel stays on the dessert. And then little bit of powdered sugar. Here you are. That is our Eiffel Liberty with peanut butter crème pâtissière. I want to thank you very much. It was a true pleasure to spend a little time with you. I hope you are going to reproduce them at home, and I know you will be successful at it. And we hope to have the pleasure to see you plenty more time on this channel. My name is Chef Lille. Remember, you can look us up on www.burkemanor.com, Burke being B-U-R-K-E, and look at everything we do, and maybe you will be traveling with us in France. We wish you a wonderful rest of the day and keep cooking. Goodbye.